Part 15. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, She is Soft and Sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 141. Chapter 141. If it were you, I would definitely have no problem with it. The eldest and second bedrooms of the Xie family were all checking on Yubeo. Yubeo didn't know anything about it, but even if he knew about it, he didn't take it to heart. With her current abilities, let alone an ordinary person, she can still compete with the fierce ghosts who are about to advance. What's more, as long as the Xie family is not too stupid, they will not take the initiative to offend her. It is not difficult to check Yubeo's identity. After all, Xie Sui was among the people who came with him that day. Xie Sui once visited Xie's father's house together, and many servants of the Xie family knew him. So Xie Xing and Xie Xian found Yubao without much effort. Just as Yubao guessed, both of them came with the purpose of making friends. However, Yubao had no intention of getting involved in the drama of the three Xie brothers fighting for power, so she didn't see either of them. And she was not idle either, she was busy helping Gu Zingzi cut the peach blossoms. Since kindergarten, this guy has had little girls give him snacks as a sign of goodwill, and this has become even more serious after he entered junior high school. This guy is good looking and has a good brain. He hugs a book after class. He doesn't get together to talk like other boys. He has the perfect aloof academic persona. The little girls in the class gather in a group and whisper every day, and the topic always revolves around him. Every once in a while, girls from other classes would block the door of the classroom and peek at him. 2 days ago, I met 2 girls secretly following them home. Yubeo stared at Gu Zingzi's face carefully. It was good looking, but he didn't want these people to be like crazy fans and hang around him every day, right? Yubao sighed and walked forward. Hey, classmate, no one told you that before confessing your love, you should first find out if the other person has a girlfriend. The girl looked at Yubao, who suddenly appeared in surprise. She was interrupted in the middle of her confession, and she said in embarrassment, "Who are you? What does it have to do with you that I confess my love to him?" Yubeo blinked his big soft and cute eyes, looking harmless, but what he said was full of aggression. He is my fiancé, and I am his fiancé. Now that you are confessing your love to my fiancé, what are you talking about? Do I have anything to do with it? What did you say? Are you his fiancé? The girl couldn't help but widen her eyes, and shouted a little awkwardly, "This is impossible." Yubeo sighed and said to the other party in a sympathetic tone, "I just reminded you that you should at least inquire clearly before confessing. Otherwise, do you think there are so many girls who like him? Why are you the only one who chooses to confess?" Yubao said, motioning her to look around, and sure enough, she saw many girls peeking at Gu Zingzi. "Yubao, that's because everyone else knows that we are a couple. If you don't believe me, you can just ask someone." As he said that, he reached out and hooked Gu Zingzi's neck, but because of the height difference between the two, I found this movement a bit difficult and had to stand on tiptoes to maintain this movement. Upon seeing this, Gu Zingzi raised the corners of his mouth slightly unconsciously, and took the initiative to bend down to cooperate with her. All the girls around were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. It turns out that the other party doesn't know how to smile, it's just that they don't know how to smile at them. And the way the other person smiles is really gentle. He is indeed a childhood sweetheart. From kindergarten to junior high school, the two of them were almost inseparable as long as they were in school. Eating together and going to and from school together, in the eyes of many people they are a couple. Whenever a girl inquires about her, it is impossible not to know her. But even if I hadn't asked about it before, I was already convinced by the looks of the two of them at this moment. After all, Gu Zingzi is indifferent to everyone, but he is willing to bend down to cooperate with Lu Yu. Isn't this proof enough? Although the girl was sad and embarrassed, she was not unreasonable. She confessed her love to someone else's fiancé in front of her fiancé. Thinking of this, Her face couldn't help but panic. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't know you two were, that it's a relationship, I'll leave first. After that, he turned around and ran away. Fiancé, after the girl left, Gu Xingzi looked at Yu Bao, with a hint of amusement evident in his brows. Yu Bao rolled his eyes at the other person, withdrew his hand from around his neck and said, I helped you out, and you still made fun of me? Or should I call her back now and tell her that I just lied to her? As he said that, he would make a show of chasing the girl just now. Gu Xingzi hurriedly hooked her collar and pulled her back and said, Don't be upset. I'm wrong. Is that okay? Humph, you are smart. Let's go, I'll buy you a drink. When the two came back from the canteen, they saw Lu Xuan rushing over and grabbing the two of them and saying, Where have you two gone? Why did I go to the toilet and come back and hear everyone talking about you two? You two are an unmarried couple? Why didn't I know when you two got engaged? Even though the great-grandfather of the Gu family has been running to their house and wanted his little aunt to be their granddaughter-in-law, everyone in the community knew about it, but didn't the great-grandfather never nod? Why did the news suddenly spread that the two were an unmarried couple? That's what I said, Yu Bao said. Hearing this, Lu Xuan couldn't help but widen his eyes and said, You two, could it be that they really got engaged behind his back? Yu Bao could tell at a glance what the other party wanted to ask, and answered his question directly, Don't worry, we are not engaged. I just tricked Xingxing's suitor. Lu Xuan breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. Let me tell you, how could I not know about such a big thing? Then he glanced at Gu Xingzi again, raised his chin slightly and said, If you want to be my little uncle, you have to ask first. I don't agree. Really? Gu Xingzi looked over with a light look. But Lu Xuan was pinned to the spot. He felt a chill on his back for no reason, and he changed his words decisively, Haha, I was just talking nonsense. There are so many elders in the family, so it's not my turn to speak. Of course, if it's you, I definitely have no objection. Besides, your old man has always wanted you two to get engaged, don't you think so too? Before Gu Xingzi opened his mouth, he heard Yu Bao say, When did you become so nosy like those little girls? My relationship with Xing Xing is as if I and you are the same. Do you think we two are like each other? Are you talking about falling in love? If you have this time, you might as well do a few more math questions. I heard that the midterm exam is coming next week. Are you ready? Lu Xuan's eyes instantly turned resentful. As long as we don't talk about studying, we are still good aunts and nephews. Yu Bao, I'm doing this for your own good. I heard that our school has to write a midterm summary after every midterm exam. I don't want you to finish the exam. The summary says that if you pass this exam, you finally know what's going on in the class, how many people are there. Lu Xuan. End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 142. Chapter 142. That's because your understanding of yourself is not clear enough. Lu Xuan, I'm not that bad, right? Little aunt, can't you hope that he will be better? Yu Bao, that's because your understanding of yourself is not clear enough. The aunt and nephew were busy bickering, and no one noticed that Gu Xingzi's eyes darkened slightly when he heard the girl say that their relationship was like that between her and Lu Xuan. He doesn't want to be an aunt and nephew with this girl. It seems that I need to change the way I get along with this girl. By the way, he said, just now the head teacher asked me about the junior high school mathematics league, and I have already signed up for you. Oh, Yu Bao had no objection. Since joining the competition class in elementary school, the two of them have won many awards, and participating in competitions is like having fun. Gu Xingzi glanced at her and said, the head teacher said that this competition is very difficult, no more than in elementary school. Those who can participate in the finals are the top students from each province. I hope the two of us will prepare well. So starting today, after school come to my house and let the two of us make a competition study plan. Yubeo has no objection. Although the two have been learning competitions since elementary school, Yubeo's performance has never been as good as Gu Xingzi's. That guy is simply a genius player, while I rely on strength 3 points and luck 7 points. The reason why she gets good results every time is mainly due to her good luck. Compared with IQ alone, Yubeo is definitely not as good as Gu Xingzi. Since the opponent paid so much attention to it, if she didn't prepare well, it would be a bit disrespectful to the game. As for Lu Xuan, he was confused when he heard the word competition. He joined the competition class with the two of them, but he didn't even pass the first round of selection and was eliminated. He felt embarrassed and refused to participate in any competition-related topics. As soon as he heard that the two of them were planning to study for a competition, he immediately decided not to go back with them that night. He didn't want to listen to them talking about mathematics. If he had this time, he might as well stay in school and play more football. Lest I look like a fool when being contrasted by the two of them. Gu Xingzi expressed that he was very satisfied with the other party's knowledge and interests. It's just that the eyesore of Lu Xuan is missing, but there is an uninvited guest. In the afternoon, when the two came out of school, they saw a black car parked across the road. Next to the car stood two tall men wearing sunglasses and black suits. As soon as Yubeo came out, he felt the eyes of the two people falling on him. Are these people coming to see me? Yubeo's eyebrows moved slightly. The next second, her premonition came true. She saw one of the men in black walking towards her and said, "Miss Lu, my old man has invited you." Yubeo couldn't help but look in the direction of the car, but the privacy effect of the car window was so good that he couldn't see the people inside clearly. At this moment, the car window slowly lowered, revealing the face of an old man. It's the old man of the Xie family. Yubeo was secretly surprised. She didn't expect that she had just sent away the two Xie family members, but she actually recruited this one again. This thank you family is really endless. I think this is because of the elixir in her hand. As expected, having your identity exposed is such a troublesome thing. Although she had been prepared, seeing the Xie family coming one after another made her feel that this family was really difficult to deal with. In the final analysis, she underestimated the temptation of the elixir to these people. Do you want to go there? Gu Xingzi asked. Yubeo nodded and walked towards the other side of the road. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 143. Chapter 143, Pass a ladder and you can climb along the pole. The car door opened, and the old man stepped out of the car. After taking a look at Lu Yu, he smiled and said, "Master Lu, please don't take offense at the intrusion." Lu Yu has a soft and cute baby face. In the eyes of ordinary people, she is just a cute little girl, but this little girl in front of her can actually refine a third-grade elixir. What kind of talent is this? For some unknown reason, Mr. Xie did not take out the fourth-grade elixir, so the Xie family still only thinks that Yu Bao can refine the third-grade elixir. Even so, it is enough to attract the attention of outsiders. Yu Bao said with his usual soft and cute character, "Old Xie is serious, you are the elder, just call me Lu Yu. I don't know if old Xie is here, but you want to see me if you have anything." Xie Lao smiled and said, "Ha ha ha, since you think I am an elder, I will show you my shame. Don't call me Xie Lao. From now on, just call me Xie Grandpa." "Thank you, Grandpa." Apart from being good at catching ghosts and reading feng shui, Yubeo is also best at coaxing the elders in the family. Grandpa thanked him immediately. Anyway, she already has Grandpa Gu, Grandpa Ji, Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa Li. It doesn't matter if she thanks Grandpa more. Okay, okay, Mr. Xie laughed. Thanks to you Yeta for the elixir, otherwise, my old bones would have been buried in the ground. I came here specifically to thank you, girl. Grandpa Xie wants to treat you to a meal. I wonder if you Yeta can give me a favor. The old and the young are all very clever, and they can climb along the ladder if given to them. The two of them completed a recognition of their relatives as soon as they came back and forth. Mr. Lu also changed his name for her from Master Lu to Yu Yetu. Yo Bao, Grandpa Xie is so polite. The third master of the Xie family paid for my elixir. After all, I just sold the elixir I refined. I can't thank you for it. Mr. Xie had previously speculated whether the elixir was made by her, but now that he heard her admit it in person, his smile became more genuine. You already called me Grandpa Xie, why do you still call him third master? When we meet in the future, just call him uncle. If the doctor cured the patient, he still deserves to be thanked by the family. You girl saved the old man's life, so he should be thanked in person. Besides, it's just a meal. You girl must give him a reward. Is it possible that Yubeo's little face was pretentious? Grandpa Xie invited me, I shouldn't have refused, but I have already made an appointment with someone else. Why don't I have dinner with Grandpa Xie next time if I have a chance? Mr. Xie's eyes immediately fell on Gu Xingzi beside her. He was indeed the former helmsman of the Xie family. He had been in charge of the Xie family for most of his life. What kind of person had he never seen? He could tell at a glance that the young man in front of him was something special. She is not very old, but she has a magnanimity that cannot be cultivated by a small family. Even the eldest grandson of his Xie family is afraid that he will not be as good as him. Mr. Xie only glanced at it, then withdrew his gaze and said with a smile, but I have an appointment with this young man? What's the difficulty? Just invite this young man to come with us. Yubeo couldn't help turning his head to look at Gu Xingzi and asked. Gu Xingzi raised his hand and rubbed her head and said, since Mr. Xie sincerely invites you, let's go. Yu Bao nodded, then turned to Mr. Xie again and said, then I'll bother you, Mr. Xie. Ha ha ha, Grandpa Xie couldn't ask for more. Seeing the close relationship between the two of them, Mr. Xie couldn't help but be secretly attracted to Gu Xingzi. I don't know what the relationship between these two people is. This girl treats each other very differently. End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 144. Chapter 144. Who would be willing to die if given a chance to live? Yu Bao immediately helped the other person get into the car, and then got into the car with Gu Xingzi. The two bodyguards got into another car. The car soon stopped in front of a famous Chinese restaurant in Yunjing City. Yu Bao and Lu Su have been to this restaurant before. The business is very good. You must make a reservation in advance to get a seat. At this moment, I saw the restaurant manager standing at the door to greet me. Mr. Xie, the private rooms you ordered have been arranged. Mr. Xie nodded, turned to Yu Bao with a smile and said, girl, please come in quickly. Thank you, Grandpa, for letting me support you. Yu Bao took the initiative to hold the other person's wrist. As long as this girl wants to, she is the best at pleasing people. Okay, okay, Mr. Xie responded with a smile, letting the other party support him, and the group walked inside. The restaurant manager raised his head and looked at Yu Bao in surprise. This restaurant belongs to the Xie family. Mr. Xie has been vigorous and resolute in his life, and he has never seen him be so kind to any junior. I don't know where this girl is from. The old man actually treated me differently. There are 3 grandsons and 2 granddaughters in the Xie family. He has seen both young ladies from the Xie family, but not the one in front of him. The most important thing for people in their profession is to be discerning. especially since the people who come here to eat are either rich or noble, and they may offend people who shouldn't be offended. The manager secretly looked at Yu Bao, but quickly looked away, quickened his pace, led the group to the pre-arranged private room, and signaled the waiter to prepare the dishes. The environment in the private room is very good. The dishes were served within a short time of the three of them sitting down. Mr. Xie greeted Yu Bao and said, "Hey girl, come on, try it. How is the food here?" The table is full of dishes, most of which are signature dishes, including her favorite snacks. As a foodie, the only thing I can't resist is the temptation of delicious food. Dang Zi rolled his eyes and said with a smile, "I have been to this restaurant before. The food here tastes very good, but it is too difficult to reserve a seat." "This is not easy to handle." Mr. Xie heard this and said with a smile, "This is our own property. Next time you come, just tell the manager that I have a special private room here that is not open to the public. By the way, that's it. This is the one we are sitting in. If you want to eat next time, just come over and ask the manager to help you arrange it." The restaurant manager on the side heard this and said hurriedly, "Don't worry, Mr. Xie, I've written it down. Those who can be managers are all good people." It has long been obvious that Mr. Xie's attitude towards this girl is unusual. Even her own private room was given away immediately, which shows the position of this girl in the old man's mind. Even the young master and young lady of the Xie family did not receive such treatment when they came. It's not that it can't be used, you just have to call the old man for instructions first. "Why are you so embarrassed? Yubeo really likes the food here, and has always wanted to come here with his family to try it, but it's so difficult to book a place, and he can't make a reservation every time he wants to." Now that the old man has said this, it is a lot more convenient. But she also knows that there is no such thing as goodwill for no reason in this world. Of course, she knew what Mr. Xie wanted, so it was not a difficult problem for her. The old man smiled and said, "There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You are my savior, and I came here to eat to show you my grandpa's face." "Then I won't be polite," Yubeo agreed. "I thought that if I had a chance in the future, I would give him 2 more health-preserving pills as a lunch box to repay the other person's favor." "That's right." Mr. Xie immediately asked Yu Bao to eat some food. When he was about to finish eating, the old man suddenly said, "Hey girl, can you tell Grandpa Xie the truth? How long can Grandpa Xie live after taking the elixir?" Yu Bao held the chopsticks for a moment, knowing that the main topic of the evening was coming. He immediately put down the chopsticks, looked at the other party and said, "Grandpa Xie, you must be aware of your body. Although you have the Pen pill, it is only preserve your vitality for the time being. Your internal organs are exhausted, and even with the 4th grade elixir, you still have a life of 1 or 2 years at most." "You mean the 4th grade elixir?" Mr. Xie frowned slightly. The third child is obviously talking about the 3rd grade elixir. Is there something else that he doesn't know about? Hearing this, Yu Bao glanced at Mr. Xie in surprise. It seemed that Mr. Xie had concealed the matter of the 4th grade pill for some unknown reason. It would be inappropriate for her to say it again, as it would be suspected of instigating the relationship between father and son. Mr. Xie suddenly became silent when he saw her. After all, he has been immersed in Vanity Fair for many years. There is nothing he doesn't understand. He immediately laughed and changed the subject. "You girl has achieved such an achievement at a young age. I wonder who she studied under?" "Yo Bao, my master is the great Koi Immortal." "Koi Immortal?" Mr. Xie was stunned. Why doesn't this name sound like Immortal? He knew that some masters with profound Taoist teachings like to give themselves Taoist titles, but they were usually Taoists and immortals, and he had never heard of someone calling themselves a great immortal directly. But it may also be an honorific title given to him by others. Yu Bao said, "That's right, when I was a child, I was taught by the Koi Immortal, So I practiced the 5 Taoist arts. Zyajin was given to her by the Koi immortal, so her master is the Koi immortal. When Mr. Xie sent someone to investigate her before, he specifically checked her master. However, apart from finding out that she lived in a Taoist temple before she was 3.5 years old, he did not find any similar masters around her. It seems that after she came back from the Taoist temple, she started to help people catch ghosts and do feng shui. At a young age, he is extremely talented. It's just that she doesn't know who the Koi immortal she mentioned is. It seems that we need to send someone to the Taoist temple where she stayed to investigate. I wonder if you girl has refined other elixirs, Mr. Xie asked again. Yo Bao, I wonder what Grandpa Xie wants to ask. Mr. Xie looked at her with a hint of probing in his eyes. I heard that there is a life-sustaining pill that can bring the dead back to life and extend life. Yu Bao was secretly shocked. He didn't expect that the other party knew about the life-sustaining pill. He was worthy of being the former helmsman of a top-notch family. Grandpa Xie was joking. How could I refine such a powerful elixir at such a young age? Besides, I have never heard of any elixir that can bring the dead back to life. I have heard of elixirs that can prolong life. After some. That's right, I'm overthinking it. Mr. Xie's expression darkened and he sighed. That's all, life and death are determined by fate. The extra 1 or 2 years of life I got was picked up. I was greedy. Let's eat first. Having said that, if there is a chance to live, who would be willing to die? End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 145. Chapter 145. An identical necklace. After coming out of the restaurant, the old man arranged for the driver to take the two of them home first, and then took out 2 posts and handed them to Yu Bao and Gu Xin to know, it will be the old man's birthday in a few days, I hope you and this little brother are free. If you want, we can come over and have fun together. Yubao glanced at the post and remembered that Xie Sui had said before that it was because of this post that he gave the memory pill she made to the Xie family, which triggered the series of events that followed. Yubao finally took the post from Mr. Xie's hand and said, "Thank you, Grandpa Xie. We will definitely be there when the time comes." "Okay, then I'll wait for you to come to the door," Mr. Xie said with a smile. After getting in the car, seeing her staring at the post, Gu Xin knew, you don't want to get involved with the Xie family. Why did you agree to the other party's invitation? Yo Bao glanced at the driver in the front row, thinking that she could use the driver's mouth to convey her words back to the Xie family, and said, "I just don't want to get involved in the overt and covert fights between the 3 Xie brothers. If it's Mr. Xie, there's no need to be so scrupulous. After all, the strength of the Xie family is there. If she doesn't want to completely offend the Xie family, she can't avoid it forever. It would be better to choose Mr. Xie than to choose the 3 brothers." Gu Xingzi understood the meaning of her words, but after all, he was worried that the driver was the Xie family, so the two did not talk about anything else. The Xie family's birthday banquet arrived soon. The Lu family and the Xie family have little contact, and only Yubao received the invitation in the entire Lu family. Yubao had no intention of introducing the Xie Lu family to each other. Although the Lu family was not as powerful and wealthy as the Xie family, they would have no worries for at least 100 years with his koi protecting them. She plans to go to the appointment alone. As for Gu Xingzi, he had no intention of going in the first place. The only person the Xie family really wants to invite is the girl. If she goes by herself, it would be like being attached to her. Xie Sui, however, heard that this girl had obtained the Xie family's post and hurried over to ask to go with her. The Xie family's banquet was held at the Xie family's mansion, and the two of them came to visit again. You can see luxury cars gathering at the door, and all the top celebrities in Kyoto gather here. People who could be named from the upper class got out of the car one after another. There is someone at the door who checks the posts. Yubao took out the post and handed it to the servants of the Xie family to register, while listening to Xiesui whisper in her ear, "That is the head of a certain family, that is the leader of the XX group, from the business world to the aristocratic family, there seems to be no." He didn't recognize it. I don't know how he remembered so many people. As soon as she finished registering, she heard a voice calling her, "Miss Liu, you are here." Liu Yu looked up and saw the Xie family's butler standing at the door. "The last time you came to see Mr. Xie, Yubao saw him in Mr. Xie's yard." "Hello, housekeeper," Yubao greeted the other party. The housekeeper received Mr. Xie's instructions and waited at the door. As soon as he saw Yubao, he personally greeted you. At this moment, he said with respect on his face, "You're welcome, Miss Liu. There are many guests here today," and the old man was afraid that he might neglect Miss Liu by not greeting her well, so he asked me to come over to welcome Miss Liu in. Actually, I was afraid that the other party would not be used to such a big scene today, and the people who came today were either rich or noble, but I was worried that the other party would conflict with other guests, so I sent a butler here specially. When everyone sees the housekeeper personally escorting her in, they will know that she is a distinguished guest of the Xie family, and no one will come forward to offend her carelessly. It's time to take care of the house." Yubao readily accepted Mr. Xie's kindness. "I have to say that it is indeed the Xie family's Dingai Shenzhen, and it is very thoughtful." "Miss Liu, please." "Thank you, master." The housekeeper made a gesture of invitation, and then led the two of them inside. Along the way, everyone saw the housekeeper of the Xie family leading the two people in, and they couldn't help but cast inquiring glances at Yubao and Xiesui. On a big day like a birthday banquet, the housekeeper is usually very busy, but now he actually came out to greet the guests in person. I don't know what the origin of these two people is. Many people saw Yubao's angry face and mistakenly guessed whether she was the precious little princess hidden by some top family, and started to inquire about it privately. It was the first time that Xiesui received the attention of so many important people. He couldn't help but sigh. "Tisk, Sister Yubao, you are so proud that you can let the housekeeper of the Xie family personally guide you." As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a scolding voice, "Stop." The three of them stopped and saw a group of noble ladies in the middle, dressed like little princesses. "Xiechanayu. Today is Grandpa's birthday party." As the youngest child of the Xie family, Xiechanayu has always been favored. On an occasion like today, he is surrounded by people who flatter him and please him. Just now a friend around her asked about it, and then she noticed that the housekeeper came in with two people she had never seen before, so she called out to the three of them. The latter took a look at Yubao and Xiesui, confirmed that he had not seen them before, and then said arrogantly, "Butler, who are they? Today is Grandpa's birthday banquet, and all the people here are prominent figures in Yunjing City, but they are not any cat or dog can be put in. Second, miss, these two are both guests of the old master." The housekeeper looked at the pampered little princess in the house and replied respectfully, "Grandpa's guest." Xiechanayu looked Yubao up and down and said, "How could Grandpa know such a person? Are you making a mistake, steward? How old is this girl? How could Grandpa possibly have an intersection with her?" The old lady gave the explanation in person. "There is no mistake. The old lady is still waiting. I will take them to there first." The housekeeper originally thought of just bringing the people in, but now he saw the second young lady's posture and thought it would be better to bring the person to the old man and show his face. The old man was so shocked that the little ancestor from home didn't dare to mess around. Xiechanayu suddenly became unhappy when she saw that the housekeeper actually used her grandfather to pressure her. She still wanted to find out who the other party was today, so she immediately walked over from the crowd, stopped directly in front of Yubao and said, "Hey, who are you? Why did my grandfather invite you to his birthday party?" Before he finished speaking, his eyes suddenly fell on Yubao's neck, and his expression changed suddenly. She reached out to pull the necklace around Yubao's neck, but Yubeo's reaction was obviously one step faster than hers, and she subconsciously took a step back to avoid the opponent's movements. Siecheniu's hands were empty, and his expression suddenly became even more ugly. Yubeo specially wore a pink dress today, which was very cute. She wears a pink opal necklace in the shape of a deer as the main stone. Brother Lu just gave it to her 2 days ago. It is a new product from the tea family and is a limited edition. Brother Xie is the domestic spokesperson for the tea brand. When he saw this necklace, he thought of his little cousin. He immediately bought it and asked his assistant to send it home. Yo Bao liked it very much when he first saw it, and specially chose to wear it when going out today. The reason why Siecheniu changed her face just now was because she was wearing an identical necklace today. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 146. Chapter 146. You can be arrogant, but you can't be stupid. The little princess of the Xie family has always liked to be unique, not to mention that on such an important occasion today, how could she endure the fact that she was bumping jewelry with a wild girl who came out of nowhere? Yo Bao obviously saw the necklace around the other party's neck and had no intention of starting a dispute with him. He turned around and looked at the butler and said, "The butler is not going to take us to see Grandpa yet. Let's go quickly." The housekeeper was also afraid that the two of them would get into trouble, so he hurriedly said, "The old man is resting inside. Miss Lu, please come with me." Then he said to Siecheniu, "Second miss, there are many guests here today. As the host, you have to please treat your guests well at home, don't mess around. I will take the two guests to see the old man first." A trace of unwillingness flashed in Siecheniu's eyes, and he stamped his feet and said, "Who allowed you to leave? If you are not allowed to leave, come back." However, none of the three people stopped. The little princess of the Xie family, who was hid with jewelry and ignored by others, suddenly exploded. She ripped off the necklace around her neck and threw it to the ground angrily. "Ew, what's wrong? Who made our little princess angry?" At this time, a gentle voice sounded. "I saw a slender and tall figure approaching." The other person bent down and picked up the necklace on the ground. Then he walked up to Siecheniu and grabbed the other person's hand and said, "Today is Grandpa Xie's birthday. I'm not happy about it." Sister Nai Siecheniu glanced at the person and said angrily, "I'm so angry. Grandpa doesn't know what's going on, but he invited two shabby people to live here. He's not afraid of losing the Xie family's face." Shen Nai smiled and said, "Since you are the guest invited by Grandpa Xie, he must be someone special. You are the host today, so you can't be angry with the guests. But then again, you are the second young lady of the Xie family, who else dares to? Doesn't it make you unhappy?" Although she came a step late, she just saw the two figures who were led in by the housekeeper. Even though she had been in and out of Xie's house so many times, she had never seen the housekeeper treat her so politely. Like everyone else, she was also curious about the other person's identity. She glanced just now and saw the necklace around the other person's neck. Looking at the exact same thing that a certain young lady had just thrown away in anger, there was nothing she didn't understand. The second young lady of the Xie family has been very arrogant since she was a child. How could she allow someone to steal her limelight at the birthday banquet? Her words were like adding fuel to the fire to Siecheniu's ears. He glanced at the direction in which the three butlers were leaving and said bitterly, "Humph, I will definitely not let her go. This is in the Xie family, and she doesn't believe that she can't deal with a wild girl who appears out of nowhere. Don't think that she doesn't dare to touch her under the banner of Grandpa. Grandpa is getting older, and now her father is the head of the Xie family. She bullied that wild girl, so she bullied her. She didn't believe that Grandpa could really punish her for her. On the other side, in the Xie family's tea room, Mr. Xie is resting with his eyes closed. Although people seem to be more energetic after taking the elixir, everyone knows that this is just an appearance. In fact, they are already at the end of their strength inside, and they should still take more rest when it is time to rest. The housekeeper knocked on the door, then opened the door and said, "Old master, Miss Lu is here." Mr. Xie opened his eyes and glanced at the housekeeper, Yu Bao, and Xie Sui behind him. He only asked the housekeeper to pick up the person, but did not ask the conductor to bring the person over. And the housekeeper is not someone who makes decisions on his own. As expected of a mature man, he understood in an instant what must have happened outside. He smiled and said, "Hey girl, come in and sit down. Let's have a taste of the tea made by Grandpa Xie." Mr. Xie's performance changed naturally, as if he had specially made tea and waited for Yu Bao to come over. "By coincidence, I also prepared a herbal tea for Grandpa Xie as a gift. I hope Grandpa Xie won't dislike it." Yu Bao took out the birthday gift he had prepared for Grandpa Xie and walked forward with a smile. As for Xie Sui, after following Yu Bao for so many years, he has become accustomed to acting as a backdrop. It's strange to say that he is so versatile in front of other people, but every time he goes out with that girl, he wants to keep his mouth shut. Who allowed that girl to be in a place where there are either ghosts or monsters? He is just an ordinary person, how can he dare to talk casually? What if he is targeted by those ghosts? As soon as Mr. Xie heard the word herbal tea, his eyes instantly fell on the gift box in Yu Bao's hand. Speaking of it, this is quite a rude move and should not happen to Mr. Xie, who comes from a noble family and pays attention to rules and etiquette. As soon as Mr. Xie heard that it was related to the word medicine, Mr. Xie's first reaction was to think of elixirs. If the medicinal tea given by others is probably an ordinary medicinal tea, the one given by this girl may be related to the elixir. How could it be? As long as it's a gift from you girl, the old man likes it. Mr. Xie smiled so hard that he couldn't see his teeth. I wish I could ask the butler to open it and try it on the spot. But since Yu Bao was present, he couldn't do such a rude thing. But Yu Bao saw what the other party was thinking and said with a smile, "Grandpa Xie, why don't you try the herbal tea I brought first?" Okay, Mr. Xie responded hurriedly. As soon as he said the words, he realized that he was too impatient. Since he had lost his composure, Mr. Xie simply stopped trying to hide it, looked at Yu Bao with burning eyes and said, "I just don't know how to drink this herbal tea." "Yo Bao, just brew it like ordinary tea." After saying that, he picked up the teacup on the table and showed the other person in person. As the medicinal tea was brewed, a strong medicinal fragrance filled the tea room. The medicinal fragrance is mixed with spiritual energy, which lifts the spirits of those who smell it. "Thank you, Grandpa, for trying it." Yu Bao handed the brewed tea to the old man. "Then I'm not welcome." Mr. Xie picked up the teacup. After just one taste, I knew it was good stuff. He hurriedly asked the housekeeper to put things away. Yu Bao remembered the favor from the previous restaurant and it was her birthday. She thought it would be too eye-catching to give the elixir directly, so she made the elixir into medicinal tea as a gift. This is neither eye-catching nor degrading. The most important thing is that the other party will like it. As long as you insist on drinking it every day, it has the effect of repairing the internal organs. I think it can help the other person live longer. Mr. Xie really likes this gift. At his age, he has never seen such a good thing. Luxury mansions, villas, and mountains of gold and silver are not as good as the cup of medicinal tea in front of you. Yu Bao drank tea with Mr. Xie for a while, and then proposed that he wanted to go outside for a look. There were many people coming today. As the protagonist, Mr. Xie must go out to meet guests later. Mr. Xie asked the housekeeper to accompany the two of them out for a walk. He was politely declined by Yu Bao. Yo Bao said that she was just looking around casually and did not need anyone to accompany her or guide her. End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 147. Chapter 147. You guys are having a great time. The housekeeper personally greeted her, which was enough for her. It was just ignorant of her to ask him to accompany her on such an important day. Upon seeing this, Mr. Xie didn't force it. He smiled and asked the housekeeper to send the two of them back to the hall. But after sending Yu Bao away, the old man's face turned cold. When the housekeeper came back, he asked with a stern face, "What happened just now?" Because Yu Bao was there, the other party didn't ask in person. Now that the people are gone, Mr. Xie doesn't need to worry anymore. The housekeeper then told the story of his previous encounter with the second young lady in the living room and how the second young lady embarrassed Yu Bao. The old man snorted coldly and said, "Girl, Yu is becoming more and more unruly, and she dares to act recklessly on such a big day. I'll talk to the boss later. Although it's true that girls should be more pampered, they can't spoil people. I thank you. You don't need to raise a fool. It's okay for the Xie family's girls to be a little arrogant, but they must not be stupid." Then he told the housekeeper, "Watch Yu Yetu, don't let her do something inappropriate at the birthday banquet." Yes, old lady. The housekeeper knew clearly that the old lady was afraid that the second lady would cause trouble to Miss Lu again, so he wanted to keep a close eye on her. On the other side, as soon as Xie Sui and Yu Bao came out of the tea room, they were blocked by someone. This time, it was not the second young lady of the Xie family who blocked the road, but a well-dressed boy with oily hair and pink face. Looking at his age, he is about the same age as Xie Sui. In order to make himself look more mature, he specially combed his hair and wore a suit and tie. However, he is more than half a head shorter than Xie Sui. He has to raise his head and speak, "Xie Sui, is it really you? I just said I thought I was wrong. I didn't expect that even you could get an invitation from the Xie family. But that's right. I heard that your family is in the good life today because of the Xie family's thighs. It's so easy to get into the upper class. Naturally, I will not let go of the opportunity." Xie Sui looked at the other party with a cold face, "Whose dog I thought was unleashed, it turned out to be you." It was no secret that their family was backed by the Xie family, and Xie Sui didn't think there was anything to be ashamed of. Just like the other party will appear here, isn't it also to please the Xie family? The boy's surname is Ling, and his name is Ling Yi. The Ling family used to be considered a celebrity in Yunjing, but it has long since declined by his generation. Now there is only an empty shell company left in the family. It looks glamorous on the outside, but it has already fallen into disrepair on the inside. Before, it was not as good as him. However, the other party does not seem to have such awareness. The two were junior high school classmates and had not gotten along before. This time, through some means, I actually got an invitation from the Xie family. Ling Yi is a person who likes to tease people with bad words, but he doesn't have enough cultivation. When someone insults him casually, he gets angry and forgets the situation. He explodes on the spot and says, "Xie Sui, who are you calling a dog?" Xie Sui has known him for many years and knew that the other party was loud and incompetent. He did not pay attention to the other party's shouting and said, Didn't you shout just now?" Some people like to put their faces in front of him and let him hit them. If they don't hit them, they feel sorry for their own hands. Next to Yu Bao couldn't help laughing. Ling Yi's face suddenly turned even darker. He was about to have a seizure when he suddenly remembered his parents' instructions before going out. Thinking about the purpose of coming to Xie's house this time, he endured it and sneered at Xie Sui, "I not even half acquainted with you." Xie Sui felt a little pity. It seemed that the other party did not go out without thinking at all today. There was no quarrel, and he planned to see the other party get kicked out by the Xie family after they started to quarrel. Ling Yi held his breath, unable to attack for a while. His chest felt very uncomfortable. Then his eyes fell on Yu Bao next to him, and he sneered softly, "Could this be your girlfriend? You have quite unique taste, and you can do it at such a young age. Has this girl started to grow? Yu Bao, are you polite? When I call you a dog, you really think of yourself as a dog. When you open your mouth, you bark. Please open your dog eyes and see clearly. This is my sister." Actually got involved with Sister Yu Bao. "Your sister? When did you have a sister? Why didn't I know? The two have been enemies for many years. How can he not know whether the other party has a sister? If this wild girl who appeared out of nowhere was his sister, he would be willing to stand on his head and live stream her sex. Can't I accept you as your sister?" Ling Yi sneered, Sister? I think it's the fourth time. Haha, you guys are having a great time. Please clean your mouth." I knew this guy had a bad mouth, but I didn't expect it to be so bad, and he made random girlish jokes. Xie Sui listened to the guy's dirty words, for fear of dirtying Yu Bao's ears. "Eh? What does it smell like? It stinks so much." Yu Bao on the side raised his head and asked innocently, "Brother, did you go out and didn't brush your teeth today? Why does your mouth stink so much?" "You bitch, who are you scolding?" Ling Yi's face turned ferocious again. "Of course, who should I scold whom?" Yu Bao smiled slightly, his smile was soft and harmless. In the eyes of other guests, Ling Yi was rude and yelled at the little girl. "Humph," Ling Yi snorted coldly, "you don't learn well at a young age and follow men around. It's not a good thing at first glance. However, it's not me who said that Xie Sui's vision is too bad. You are the only one. With your shriveled green bean figure and short legs, I don't know what he wants in you." Yu Bao hates it when people make excuses for her height. Her short legs are her flaw. This person was so stubborn that he just stepped on her legs. If you don't clean up the other person, you will be sorry for her temper. Yu Bao showed a harmless smile to the other party and said, "Brother, I know how to read fortune tellers. Your face is dark and you are obviously suffering from bad luck. Believe it or not, after I count 3 times, you will be unlucky." Ling Yi laughed out loud after hearing this. "Ha, you can read faces? I can also catch ghosts. Do you think I believe it or not?" Yu Bao didn't argue. He smiled at him, raised his green-white hands and began to count slowly. 1, 2, 3. 3 sounds fell, but Ling Yi still stood on the spot. The other party laughed directly. "Oh, didn't you say that after counting to 3, I will be unlucky? Little sister, you are not good at reading. Don't worry, it will start soon." As soon as Yu Bao finished speaking, he saw Ling Yi, who was standing well, suddenly slipped without warning and fell onto his face in front of many guests. By chance, someone passed by holding a wine glass. Ling Yi fell at the man's feet, startling him. The red wine glass in his hand tilted, and all the liquid inside spilled out, just hitting Ling Yi's hair and suit. End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 148. Chapter 148. The young man is as bright as the bright moon shining on the mountain one. Ling Yi suddenly felt very embarrassed. He was so angry that he got up from the ground, pointed at Yu Bao and said, "Is it you? Are you the one making ghosts?" He was clearly standing well just now, but suddenly he fell down. It was the other party. The girl must have used some trick. Xie Sui couldn't help but quietly made a powerful gesture towards Yu Bao. "Your ancestors are indeed your ancestors." This kid was just being mean to him, but he actually dared to provoke Sister Yu Bao, which was like lighting up the pit. Then he looked at Ling Yi and said, "The birthday banquet will start soon. Are you sure you don't want to find a place to tidy up quickly? Ling Yi looked at his messy suit, gritted his teeth and said, "You two wait for me, this matter is not over yet." Then he hurriedly grabbed a servant of the Xie family and took him to the bathroom. Xie Sui said to his back, "Okay, I'll wait, you have to come back quickly, isn't that just saying harsh words, making it look like no one else would?" As soon as Ling Yi left, Xie Sui immediately looked at Yu Bao with great interest and said, "Sister Yu Bao, what did you do just now? Is it the effect of the talisman paper again? If he had this method, how could he use it next time? You have to talk nonsense with the other party." Yo Bao, "No, I just found a little devil to wrap around his feet." Xie Sui. Cruel, so cruel. Xie Sui was glad that he had never provoked her. Xie Sui subconsciously rubbed his arms and said, "Isn't that little devil still there?" Yobeo, I've let it go. Human beings have human nature, and ghosts have their own ways. Generally speaking, as long as they are little ghosts who do not do evil, Yobeo will not disturb their original lives. Of course, if a kid comes to her for help, she won't ignore it. The little devil just now was accidentally discovered by her at the gate of Xie's house. He got off the luxury car with a certain guest. Yu Bao noticed that he had no resentment on him, and he probably followed the guest simply because he felt it was fun. So I called it over to help me a little bit. On the other side, Ling Yi spent a lot of effort to finally tidy himself up. The big back has lost its original fit, and the suit can no longer be worn. Coming out of the bathroom, Ling Yi cursed and wanted to catch Xie Sui and the stinky girl next to him and give them a good lesson. However, he was blocked by someone at the corner. He was about to curse, but when he saw the other person's appearance clearly, his eyes lit up and he said, "Miss Yuer." Although the Ling family is not as big as before, the skinny camel is bigger than the horse. Occasionally, we can see the two ladies of the Xie family on some occasions. Xie Chenexai, the eldest daughter of the Xie family, is said to have excellent academic performance and is not very young, but she has already received an offer from a world-famous school. As for the second young lady, I heard that she was in junior high school and her grades were mediocre. However, it's better to be stupid. It's better for little girls to cheat. If the Ling family wants to return to the upper class and restore its former glory, it will inevitably need the help of other aristocratic families. Marriage is the best way. Of course, the marriage partner is not him. He is not yet old enough and is not in a hurry about getting married. Today he is mainly here to help his elder brother find a marriage partner. It's a pity that the real aristocratic families now look down on his Ling family. The two brothers have been here for a long time, but not many people are willing to talk to them. He had been holding back his anger for a long time, so when he saw Xie Sui, he couldn't help but taunt him twice to vent his unhappiness. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be such a big embarrassment. The moment he saw Xie Chenyu, Ling Yi suddenly had an idea in his mind, isn't it a marriage? If his eldest brother can do it, so can he. Age doesn't matter. If it's a big deal, you can get engaged first. As long as he becomes the Xie family's son-in-law, are he still afraid that the Xie family won't help his family? It's not because of the Xie family that the boy Xie Sui's family has the good life it has today. If he can become the son-in-law of the Xie family, the boy will not be able to act based on his own face in the future. Just thinking about it makes me feel happy. It's just that this girl is a little young, but don't be in a hurry, you can slowly develop feelings first. Little did he know that Xie Chenyu, who in his eyes thought he was young and easy to deceive, was looking at him as if he were a bedbug. If he didn't have questions to ask him, Xie Chenyu wouldn't want to deal with a shabby guy like him. You called me Yuer too, Xie Chenyu stared at him with disgust. A hint of embarrassment appeared on Ling Yi's face, and the hands hanging by his sides clenched unconsciously. These people just see him as the Ling family has fallen. One day, he will make all those who look down on him crawl at his feet. Ling Yi endured the unhappiness in his heart and smiled flatteringly. I called you by the wrong name, Miss Xie. Xie Chenai snorted coldly, then raised his chin arrogantly and asked, do you know those two people? She had been holding a breath in her heart since just now, and it was not fun to find Yubao, so she specially sent someone to keep an eye on it. As soon as Yubao and Siesui came out of the old man's tea room, someone sent news to Siechenai's ears. She happened to witness the conflict between Ling Yi and the two of them. She originally thought that the other party could vent her anger on her behalf, but she didn't expect that the other party was so useless. Instead, she made herself miserable. But I thought that the other party should know the identities of those two people, so I deliberately waited at the door of the bathroom. Hearing the displeasure in the other party's tone, Ling Yi followed her line of sight and happened to see Siesui and the girl beside him. He guessed that the other party didn't like those two people either. This is the Xie family, and the other party is the second young lady of the Xie family. Although I don't know how those two reckless people made each other angry. It's just a good idea, I can lend the other person's hand to teach those two a lesson. Ling Yi immediately said, second Miss Xie is asking about Siesui. Thank you, Xie Chenai frowned. His surname is also Xie. Could he be the illegitimate son of the Xie family living outside? Miss Xie, you don't know me, Ling Yi was a little surprised, then secretly happy. It seems that the relationship between Siesui's family and Xie's family is not that good either. Otherwise, how could the dignified second lady of the Xie family not even know who the other party is? Xie Chenai thought the other person was stupid. If she knew him, why would she need to ask him? Ling Yi, of those two people, the man's name is Siesui. His father is a nouveau riche and has made some money through business. As for the girl next to her, it was probably the boy who brought her here. She probably followed him to see the world. Yes. Xie Chenai felt relieved when he heard that he was not an illegitimate child of the Xie family. Then he asked, don't you know that girl? She couldn't bear to see that it was the girl who wanted to teach him a lesson. As for Siesui, he didn't pay attention. I've never seen him before. Ling Yi shook his head and said, but if Miss Xie wants to know, I can help you find out. Taking this opportunity, we can get closer to the other party. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 149. Chapter 149. The young man is as bright as the bright moon shining on the mountain too. Xie Chenai couldn't help but frowned. Where did that girl come from? Seeing Ling Yi still looking at her eagerly, the look in his eyes made her extremely uncomfortable, so she waved her hand as if chasing a dog and said, no, you can go. Ling Yi managed to strike up a conversation with the other party, but he was not willing to leave like this. Even though the other party's attitude made him feel angry and humiliated, for the sake of the Ling family and for the sake of a better life in the future, he still said shamelessly, Siesui and I have gotten to know each other. It has been many years, and we are still in the same high school. If you want to ask about him, no one is more suitable than me. Who said I was going to ask about him? That name Siesui was none of her business. Ling Yi understood. It seemed that what she was really paying attention to was the girl beside Siesui. I know that Miss Xie must have many ways to find out about someone, but wouldn't it be troublesome to go find someone else? I can do what others can do. It can be done, and I can definitely find out faster than anyone else. Xie Chenai thought that if he asked the servants at home to ask for help, there was no guarantee that it would not reach his grandfather's ears. He thought for a moment and said, okay, you'd better keep your word. Don't worry, I'll definitely be able to find out. Ling Yi said hurriedly, paused, and then said, Miss Yuer, the opening dance will start soon. Can I invite you to dance together? Want to dance with me? Siechenai looked at the other person with a look of contempt on his face. Are you worthy? Don't forget what you said. I want to know the news about that girl as soon as possible. After saying that, he turned away. Ling Yi blushed instantly, but due to the fact that this was the Xie family and the power of the Xie family, he did not dare to get angry and endured it. Xie Chenai couldn't find out Yu Bao's identity from Ling Yi, so he returned to the hall angrily. Okay, don't be angry. Shen Nai on the side saw that she was still not calm and comforted her softly. No, I must make that girl look good. Xie Chenai looked in the direction of Yu Bao angrily. I have an idea, Shen Nai whispered in her ear. Xie Chenai's drooped mouth corners finally raised slightly, and his eyes looking at Yu Bao became more and more malicious. What's wrong with you? Xie Sui noticed that Yu Bao's expression suddenly became serious and couldn't help asking. Nothing, Yu Bao shook his head. Since practicing ancient martial arts, her five senses have become much sharper than ordinary people. What's more, there is Xiao Jin watching for her. She naturally felt such obvious malice immediately. She didn't expect that it was just a necklace, but the second young lady of the Xie family was staring at it closely. The girl next to her looked like a well-educated, dignified, and gentle woman, but her whole body was wrapped in a black aura, haunted by evil aura. Yu Bao noticed the Buddha amulet worn around the other person's neck. This evil spirit came out of the Buddha amulet. Xie Chenai listened to Shen Nai's idea and immediately called his servants to give instructions. As soon as the servant left, she looked up and saw someone walking in from the door. Her eyes lit up and she said, Sister Nai, who is that? Shen Nai followed her gaze and saw a servant of the Xie family walking in with a family of 3. The whole family is very good looking, especially the young man walking in the middle. Although he is not very old, he has an indescribable air about him, and he is also very good looking. The moment the other party walked in, a poem came to many people's minds. The world is so far away, but the young man is so bright, like the bright moon shining in the mountains. Shen Nai shook her head and said, I haven't seen him before, but since he appeared at Grandpa Xie's birthday party, I guess he is someone who cooperates with the Xie family, right? Xie Chenai immediately called for a servant to inquire. On the other side, Yu Bao also saw Gu Xingzi, Gu Boyan, and Ning Sheng's family who had just walked in from the door. He immediately walked towards the other party. Wake up, didn't you say you can't come? Gu Xingzi specially wore a formal suit today, with a very classic black and white color scheme, like a boy who stepped out of a comic, with a cool and warm breath. Looking at her now, he smiled slightly. I just found out that my dad actually cooperated with Mr. Xie, and I also got the invitation from Mr. Xie this time. I would have come with you if I had known earlier. Yu Bao stuck out his tongue. Xie Sui, who was on the side, pretended to be sad and said, Sister Yu Bao, if you say that, I will be sad. Is there anything wrong with coming with me? Although I am not as handsome as this boy in my dress today, it doesn't count for you. Isn't it embarrassing? I was wrong, Yu Bao apologized decisively. Xie Sui, okay. Who made me rich? I forgive you, the key point is that he doesn't dare not forgive me. It's that girl again. Xie Chenai looked at Yu Bao who walked over and was chatting and laughing with Gu Xingzi, his eyes filled with hatred. Who is that? Gu Xingzi felt the other person's gaze keenly and quickly raised his eyes to look over. Xie Chenai unexpectedly met a pair of dark eyes, which were bone-chillingly cold, like an abyss. One glance at them made one's heart palpitate, as if one were in an ice cave. The chill was biting and the whole body could not help but tremble. Yu Bao followed his gaze and said, Oh, the second young lady of the Xie family. Is she making things difficult for you? Gu Xingzi saw the evil in the other person's face at a glance. This unkindness was clearly directed at the girl next to him. It's okay, I can handle it, Yu Bao said. Compared to Xie Chenai, she was more worried about the girl next to her. Similarly, with this girl's personality of never suffering a loss, Most people can't hurt her. What's wrong with you? Shen Nei couldn't help but ask aloud when she saw Siecheniu's face suddenly turning pale. No, it's okay, Siecheniu managed to calm down and looked away. The birthday banquet is about to begin. Please accompany me to see if Grandpa is out. Okay, it just so happens that I wish Grandpa Xie a birthday in advance. The two of them walked towards Grandpa Xie's tea room holding each other. Yo Bao frowned slightly as she watched the two people leaving. She didn't dare to be interested in Siecheniu, but the girl next to her looked a bit weird. Is there something wrong with the girl next to her? Gu Xingzi asked aloud when he saw that she was staring at Shen Nei. Yo Bao, did you see the Buddha amulet she wore around her neck? There is a little ghost trapped inside, which is the Gumantung in Thailand, commonly known as raising a little ghost. I know this. Yesui's voice suddenly intervened. I heard that many celebrities like to raise Gumantung, saying that it can make people's wishes come true and help them become famous overnight. Is this true? Yesui didn't believe it before, but after seeing Yubeo catching ghosts with his own eyes, his mind has changed. Since ghosts really exist, is Gumantung also real? That's not a good thing, Yubao said. End of this chapter. Group Pet Koi Little Baby, she is soft and sweet. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 150. Chapter 150, Reaping the Consequences. In fact, not only celebrities like to keep them, but some wealthy people also secretly keep them at home in order to maintain their careers. Yubao, Gumantung can indeed do some things for people, but it needs to be fed with human blood, and Gumantung is a feminine object, and long-term exposure will cause damage to the body. The most important thing is that it is easy to invite ghosts, but difficult to send ghosts away. If you're not careful, it could lead to disaster. Yo Bao said, looking in the direction of Shen Nei again. I saw that the kid in there is very vicious, and this girl may not be able to control it. What will happen if you can't control it? Siesui asked. Of course there will be backlash. These brats are very jealous and revengeful. Once they are angered, the consequences will be disastrous. However, the other party should have used the other party to do a lot of bad things, otherwise, there would be no such strong evil aura. If one day there is a backlash, it can only be said that you are reaping the consequences. Siesui could not help but tremble when he heard the words. I don't understand why some people like to raise such things. If they live in the same room with ghosts every day, wouldn't they feel panicked? Okay, it's none of our business anyway. As long as the other party doesn't cause trouble to her, she doesn't care whether she raises a big devil or a little devil. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw a servant from the Xie family walking past her carrying a plate of wine. He was walking smoothly at first, but suddenly he tilted toward her. Be careful. Fortunately, Gu Xingzi quickly gave her a hand. Otherwise, all the red wine would have been spilled on him. Yo Bao's little face frowned slightly. Isn't this the way I just used to deal with that bad-mouthed guy? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Are you okay? The servant apologized hurriedly, with a hint of regret and fear in his eyes. It's a pity that the drink could not be spilled on you, Bao. What's scary is that he failed to complete the task assigned by the second lady, and he may not know how to punish himself afterwards. Yubeo, I'm fine. That's good, the servant pretended to breathe a sigh of relief. I'll have someone clean it right now. He was about to leave. Stop, the other party was about to leave, but was stopped by Yubeo. The servant stiffened and forced a smile. Does the guest have any other instructions? Yubao, I thought that in a famous family like the Xie family, the servants must have been strictly selected and trained. I didn't expect to be so clumsy. You didn't walk in such a big place next to me, but you just bumped into me. You said you didn't mean it, maybe it's because of your bad eyesight. A small servant would naturally not dare to offend the guests of the Xie family, especially at such an important time as the birthday banquet. You don't need to think about it to know that he must have been instructed by someone. As for such a clumsy trick, you can tell that it was done by Miss Ye without even looking. I don't know where Miss Ye got such jealousy, but even if she bumped into a necklace, she would chase after her and cause trouble for herself one after another. On the other side, the housekeeper followed Mr. Xie's advice and kept paying attention to Yu Bao's direction. When he saw the servant, he hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Miss Lu, are you okay?" Yu Bao saw the other party, smiled and said, "Grandpa Butler, you came just in time. Your servant just bumped into me deliberately and wanted to spill the wine on me." As soon as the servant saw the steward coming, his face immediately turned pale, and he hurriedly defended himself, "Butler, I didn't, I was really careless." "Shut up," the housekeeper glared at her, while mentally blaming the second young lady for being ignorant and actually playing tricks on the old man's birthday banquet, and in such a clumsy way, it was a disgrace to the Xie family. While busy trying to comfort Yu Bao, he said, "Miss Lu, this matter is due to our Xie family's poor greetings. Don't worry, I will report the matter to the old man, and I will definitely give you an explanation for this matter." "Okay, please ask, who is it that dislikes me? He actually came up with such a way to punish me. If the Xie family really doesn't welcome me, I will stop visiting them in the future." Yu Bao has been pampered by his family since he was a child. However, she has always been unwilling to be wronged. The second young lady of the Xie family kept making troubles one after another. If she could swallow her anger, she would no longer be Lu Yu. Although doing this does not bring face to the Xie family, it is the Xie family that loses face, and it is not her fault. Once the housekeeper heard about the other party, he stopped coming to the house. He thought that the three masters in the family sent people to invite him one after another, and even the old master came out in person. Isn't it just to establish a relationship with the other party? If you really offend the other person and make the other person never visit again, wouldn't all the family's efforts be in vain? He immediately said, "Miss Lu, you are serious. It is the Xie family's honor that you can come to the Xie family. The family is very happy to see you, especially the old man. I wish you could come to the Xie family more times. If you are angry, don't come. If the old man blames me, I'm afraid I will be kicked out of the Xie family." "Grandpa, the housekeeper, is joking. I'm sure he won't chase you away even if you chase him away," Yu Bao said. "Butler, that's not necessarily the case. I think the person the old man likes the most right now is you. No one else can compare with you." Yu Bao naturally won't take this sentence seriously. She believes that Mr. Xie likes her. After all, he is someone who can save his life. Who wouldn't like him? It's just that this kind of liking is based on the benefits she can bring to them. As for how sincere it is, I'm afraid only they themselves know. However, there are so many people who like her, and she doesn't care whether they really like her or not. Anyway, her pills are not given away for free. As long as the other party can afford the price, she can sell them a few more pills. But the premise is that there are not so many bad people in the Xie family. After all, she is not short of money, so she doesn't want to make herself miserable for the sake of money. The housekeeper naturally saw that she was not going to settle the matter. Also, people with real abilities these days have a bit of a temper. Not to mention someone as capable as the other party. The Xie family must give an explanation to the other party, otherwise, the other party may not visit again. "Miss Lu, you might as well sit down for a while. I will go and tell the old man to investigate the matter as soon as possible and give you an explanation, Miss Lu." The housekeeper left in a hurry, found the old man, and told him exactly what happened here. Especially Yu Bao's attitude on this matter. Although Mr. Xie was dissatisfied with Yu Bao for not giving the Xie family face, he was even more annoyed by his granddaughter's stupidity and ignorance. After hearing the butler's reply, his eyes suddenly turned cold. Years of majesty made him look extremely serious and scary. Siechani was by Mr. C's side at the moment. When he saw Mr. C's face suddenly darkening and looking at him sternly, he couldn't help but let out a thump in his heart. He endured the fear in his heart and asked, "Grandpa, what's wrong?" End of this chapter.